but overall I think that looks pretty good. Hello and welcome to another video of how to draw and animate in Adobe Animate CC. Today we're going to be drawing a little character that I just sketched up. It's a little picture of like a hobo or a tramp, not sure what you call, sort of like a wandering traveler. So let's go ahead and start by picking our bigger brush size so we can start drawing larger than usual. I'll just move these windows around the properties panel so you can see my face. And let's just do the head, which should be like a rough shape like that. I'll grab the outline, smooth it out a little bit, and move this just so it's a bit more circular. Let's make him more tanned, more dark, since he's been outside for so long. I grouped it, and now I just press Command G again, and I'm gonna start drawing the nose. Let's do a different nose. Let's do a sort of a pointy nose like that. Might look better. And close this off, and then pick the color that we had for the skin and color it in. Okay, so this is the nose. So we've got that and that. Let's group them together. So now we've got the whole head, and go inside, and I'll press Command G again and start drawing the eyes. Now the eyes are sort of like a straight but bored look, so I'm gonna go for like just a black pupil. And the advantage of using different size brushes is now I can pick the smaller brush, I can pick this color and sort of make little fine lines as wrinkles under his eyes, which makes it look a bit nicer. And just move the whole thing out so it tapers off. Yeah, that looks reasonable. Let's grab some gray color, grab our big brush again, and start doing the eyebrows. Color them in like that because he's like a older gentleman. Just move it out a little bit and press Command G. Smooth it out and press Command G. So now I've got the eyebrows in another in groups of their own, so I can move them around. Now I can convert this whole thing into eyes. Okay, I'll just save this as so let's go back to our little guy. We've got the eyes in that symbol, and we can go inside that, and I don't need to move it to layers. I'll just make a keyframe on frame 20, then I'll move this down a little bit and straighten it out so it's going to start blinking. Then I'll do another keyframe, and on here I'll just select the eyes and I'll squash them down, and I'll squash it even further. And on the third blink frame I'll get rid of these altogether and see if that how that looks. Then I'll choose the loop playback option so I can test it, and that looks kind of good. Let's save again. Then we pick the color of the eyebrows again, and we start drawing the little bushy beard. Color it in, smooth it out. I sometimes like to grab these little edges that point out and taper them off, but that's not necessary. It just depends on how you want it to look. I'll Command G again, and I'll make the mustache outline. And the reason why I do that is because I can always move it if I don't like where it's sitting. Okay, so move this whole beard behind his nose, and oops, we can do that by grabbing the beard alone, getting out of the group. I can break this down now because we've got that in a separate symbol, the eyes. I can paste it and move it behind the nose. I can then grab this color again and do that ear. Close it off and color it in. Now we want to give him a little head, so I jumped out of the group. I'll save again. Make sure you save your work regularly. And we want him to wear a sort of washed out color head, maybe like a greeny color or whatever you want. I'm going for this sort of bland look. and it looks kind of like almost like a beret, I guess, but okay, I'll darken it, and then I'll put some other color as almost of like a shadow. And now I'll do the highlight. I'll press Command G, and the reason why I do that, actually, I'll just show you what I mean, is because I'm using the HTML canvas, and if I don't put the highlight in a separate group, then it has a weird sort of a glowy outside outline on it. So you don't need to do that, but I prefer doing it just because it looks better. The final product ends up looking better. And now we're doing the hair at the back, like that. It's gonna sit at the back. Color it in. Just move it out a little. So we've got the head done. So we can call this tramp head. We also might want to just do a little highlight on the nose. So I'll pick the color of the skin and pick a lighter color, press Command G, and do like an outline here. Okay, so we've got that done, and let's jump out of the head completely. Now we want to do the body. So depends on what we want him to wear. I've got him wearing almost like a sack, which he's standing. That's good. I think I could have picked a thicker brush, but that doesn't matter. I'll just go along with this. You can pull this line to make it sort of thick, give it more weight, but you don't need to. It's all up to you. Then we've got, I gave him like a little string on my little sketch. So do the knot. That's what I'm doing right now, and the little knot's coming off that he tied. He hasn't got any money for a belt, so he's got a knot. Sorry, a string belt. This is doing the highlights. As you can see, I'm doing it very roughly because I can always go back and stretch these lines into the shapes that I want them to be. And I'm also going to put like a little shadow under the string just to make it look nicer. Just so it's not, just gives it more weight and it looks like it's sitting on the body. Okay, let's pick our little body and call it body. Move that in the back so it's behind the head. And we can now go and start drawing the legs. So he's gonna be wearing pants. Let's go with a slightly different, like almost like washed out jeans. So this is gonna be his leg. I'm gonna pick this lighter color, convert it to a group. Then I'm gonna pick that. I'm gonna make my brush a little thicker just to make the legs a bit more bold. This is gonna be his foot. And 1, 2, 3, let's just do 4 fingers. He's a little cartoon character, so it's okay. We want to close this off because, yep, like that. So let's grab this whole thing and call it leg. And let's put the rotation point here. And then we want to do another leg, but because we did the thumb that way, could have simplified it down. We need to turn and make the thumb. Let's call this. You can do this thing, which is cool. You can press on the swap thing here of swapping the symbol, and then press here duplicate symbol, and then you go leg 2, for example, you call it leg 2, and you go OK. That means now you can go inside your symbol, you can delete part of it, and as you can see, it's the same, you can alter the look of the second symbol, so that's very useful. I use that feature a lot. A bit of an itchy nose. Okay, so we've got 2 legs. Let's just make them a little smaller because I think his legs are a little big for his body. And let's also move the whole thing down. Yep. Okay, so we've got that done. Let's delete this bit that was just sitting there. And we want to draw the arms, and we want to draw the little sack that he's carrying. So let's do the arms. That's the one hand. It's gonna be there. There's the hand, and let's close that off, and like that. Color it in. These are the highlights. Command G again, just so they're sitting on top, just so I can alter them later and I can move them around. See, like they're separate. Select the whole hand or arm, sorry, and call it arm. Move it to the back and put the rotation point here at the shoulder. And then we want to make a second arm, and the second arm is going to come out of here. Yes, so. Color it in. Do the highlight. This is just he's resting his arm on his hip, which is good. And call this arm 2. Yes, the option with swapping the symbols is very useful when it comes to the animating. Once you're actually moving the body parts, what happens is you can put a keyframe down, and at a later stage, you can use the tweening. Well, I've just noticed that I actually converted one of the legs to my arm. So at a later stage, when you've made one keyframe, move to a second keyframe using the classic tween, you can actually then swap that last keyframe for another symbol. And what that means is like his hand can move up. I think I can show you roughly what I mean. I'll move this. We'll just go off track a little bit here. We're not drawing. We're just almost show you a little animation. So let's say I make a classic tween, and I make it go to 20. And let's say that I want it to start here. Whoops, sorry. Move this down. So that automatically is going to move his arm up. And then once I get to arm to this keyframe at frame 20, I can swap this symbol for arm open. And then what I can do is alter, say, the hand to open. This is just to show you guys what I meant by swapping the symbols. This is not something that, just to show you what I mean. I'll go into more depth later when I'm doing some animation. But so he can move his arm up and open it up, which is very useful. So just to show you roughly what I was talking about, I think. Let's go back to a drawing though. That's what we originally meant to do. Stay on track. Stay on track. Okay. So let's do the little sack that he's carrying. It's on a stick, and there's the stick. I can move this around a little bit if I need to. There's a stick, little highlight. As you can see, the brush is a bit thick, but I can always grab the edges and just move them around. Okay, so that's our stick, and might be too big, but I'll do my little, I'll pick the same color that I had for my string, and I'll do a little knot, and a knot down there, a knot there, and this is going to be the sec. Actually, we'll do the sec in a separate symbol so we can move it around. And while I'm at it, since we're here, I might as well show you how to animate this little guy. I'm sure some of you will like that. We'll draw the character and we'll animate him walking. And what we can do is we can make the sec move separately. Okay, so we've got the stick and the knot. I'll just call it stick. I didn't even call it properly, but and put the rotation point there. Let's go back to our main timeline and paste it down again and move it here behind the hand or the arm, sorry. Like I should have cut out a part of it. Actually, let's put it in the object of the arm. That's gonna be useful. And the reason why we do that is because it's gonna move with the arm anyway, so we might as well stick it in the symbol inside it. And then what we can do is cut out this little part so the stick is partly visible, so it looks like he's actually holding on to it. There you go. The only funny thing about it is it's supposed to be kind of sitting on his shoulder, kind of here, that I noticed. So we're gonna have to move this arm bit up. Let's move this up because it was just sitting way too high. He was actually carrying it in his arm, not letting it sit on his shoulder. So it looked funny. Maybe you guys didn't think so. I was just a bit too picky, I guess. Okay, so we move the arm. So now it sits on his shoulder. And now we can grab the color that we used for the sec and we can do a little shape of a sec. Color it in, do the little shadowy bits just to make it look better. Okay, what did we do? This is picking the color. I'm trying to pick the outline, but I can't grab it. Okay, and now we just do a little highlight on the sec as well, just to make it stand out as well. Do one on that side. Pick all our bits of the sec. I should have pressed Command G, but it doesn't matter. And just call this sec. And I'll put the rotation point here, moving it to the back, and you can move it side to side as he's walking. Let's do a little dark black circle as a shadow. Convert this to shadow. Okay. And one thing that I don't like is our thickness of the pants. Maybe I'm just once again picky, but let's change that a little bit. We'll have to do it the other side as well. Just think it looks better when it's a bit more bold. Okay, so we've got our character drawn. He's got his arms, everything's there, he's blinking. Let's grab this whole thing and call it tramp walking. Okay. Go inside our symbol and right click and go distribute to layers. As we can see, it's because we've named everything, it's got everything on a separate. The only thing we didn't name is this last one, and I think that was just something left behind, a bit of line left behind. It's got a shadow, leg, sec, everything is separated out for us. And now we can go and create classic tween. Okay, and let's say this is the position where he starts walking. I'll just move this down just so it sits correctly. And the first frame is going to be on frame 3, the first keyframe, sorry. And what he's going to do is he's going to move this leg back and this leg forward. And he's going to come up slightly, so lift his body up. We'll copy the first frame and we'll stick it to frame 5. This might be too quick. We can smooth it down. Maybe we can move it so it's slower sort of animation, so he's not walking as quickly. So this is the first keyframe. He's moved up. I'm not going to move the sec yet. We're going to get that later. So he's going to go up and then come back down. And as he comes down, he's going to place his foot down flat. And this foot's going to come out even more. Like that. I could have made this more sort of a flat-footed like that. And also make the shadow slightly smoother because he's moving higher off the ground. So as you can see, he's kind of come up and down. And then once again, we grab these 2 frames. This is an easy way to do it. And this is not perfect, but it ends up looking pretty good. Now on this keyframe that he's come up again, we'll do the same thing but on the other side. So we'll move this leg back and this leg forward. Oops, sorry. Move this that way. And this actually should be, let's move this in front because this leg should be in front. So this leg forward. And then on the last frame, this is going to come down. And this one's going to be at the back on the tiptoe. Sort of like that. Let's see if that looks half decent. As you can see, there's a big jump, but it actually ends up looking pretty good when we run it as an animation. You could always move it out, but let's move this sec this way and this way. And let's use the classic ease and let's turn it up so it like smooths it. The motion between of this slows down as it goes to the outside and then speeds up again. We have the in and then slows down as it moves out to that edge and then moves in again. So this is what will happen. Okay, and let's try and run this whole animation, see if it looks any good. We can always change something, publish settings, and we can just call it tramp center stage. I just usually click all these options when I'm exporting stuff. And let's go test. Okay, so he's walking very quickly, but as you can see, and he could be bouncing to the side a little bit. So first thing that I'll do is I'll slow it down even more. Give more frames, so he's not walking as fast. And as he's coming up, maybe what we can do is turn his head this way, and on the second keyframe that where he's raising himself up, we'll move it that way. So now he's kind of moving his head, bobbing side to side slightly. I'm not sure if that's going to look good, but maybe we can do it with the whole body. This is just playing around with making it look a little bit more realistic so he's not as stiff when he's walking. Not sure if you like that, that might be a bit too much. But this is the great thing with the classic tweening and using something like Adobe Animate that you can actually alter your animation as you go along. Yeah, that doesn't look half bad. I mean, it's not perfect, if you know, but for a quick animation, we got this done relatively quickly. I think it looks fine, and you could always make some changes as you wish. As you can see, what ends up happening is the sack moves freely on its own. It looks like it's bobbing from side to side, and the legs look like there is a slight kick as he's kicking that right foot forward. But overall, I think that looks pretty good. I mean, you know, I use these characters in my game, and it's a quick way to do a walk cycle so the characters just walk off the screen. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you'd like to comment on what you'd like next, please let me know. And I hope to see you next time. Bye.